Regarding the lattice and the energy of our bodies and all the rest of it that we work with, how do we see that actually evolving? I mean, I know for myself, I'm undergoing changes all the time. I can feel it in my physical. There are times where I wake up and I know that my energy body has been taken on a journey. I've been stretched, squashed, pulled, dissected, put back together again, and it's like, okay, now go and deal with it. And I'm like, yes, but what? And, seriously, I'd like to know if it's anybody else that's sort of been feeling this, especially just recently. They've been feeling like their energy body's been kind of pulled together, put back together, redesigned, put back together, blueprints changed, all the rest of it, because seriously need help here and understanding what is. I know that the change is good. I know that there's a big energy shift happening and we're all being moved up levels, but some kind of human understanding would be appreciated.
The energy frequency, the changes are anyone who's sensitive or anyone who's more consciously aware or less densified, I suppose you could say, will be feeling it very heavily. And it will feel like your heart's being ripped out of your chest, you've got migraine headaches in your frontal lobe, your hands change frequency all of a sudden, you can't sleep because your hands are at a different frequency to the rest of your body. And that's because the body cell memory is starting to rehouse the light body. Because you see, people say, I can see your auric field, I can see your light body, and I shouldn't be able to. Not so good to have an auric field outside your body. Should be inside. Should be outside when you choose it to be, not permanently sitting outside. And this is what's happening because this goes with your intent, and it goes with anyone in this room's intent. Your intent to create change, or your intent to understand or know who you are or who am I, will create the light body to activate in the body cell memory. And this is where the problems start immediately, because what happens is the body cell memory, if it's been storing something, for example, if I've been chopping you up in a few lifetimes and it's storing that, and that's stored between you and me, we meet, and I'm talking with you, I activate that storage by meeting you. So then I'm your soulmate, you see, and I know that I am soul connected with you, and we're in this very similar group. So I'm now activating something in you that we might have done 100 times. And so that's going to create a feeling between us that is unusual. I'll tell you one thing, New Zealand has two main soul groups forming here. Very powerful soul groups, not as big as the norm. And we're crossing over each other every time we walk in the supermarket. So when you go home, you could have met 5 people that dug your heart out just by walking in the supermarket. Next minute, oh my God, feels like I'm going to have a stroke. Honestly, this has been happening for a year for me. It's been driving me actually nearly potty. Sometimes I'll go into the public and I'm just like, no, I can't go in public now. So we just stay at home. We just don't go out.
Because the reason for the question is because I've been... the last month, my nights have been either so deep that I've slept and I just feel like I haven't slept at all, or they've been so restless that I know that when I wake up in the morning, I'm exhausted. And I know that there's been these big changes happening, and I've been waking up and I'm like, okay, I'm awake now, but I know I'm not awake. I'm asleep. I know that things are happening, and yet Heather will say to me, what did you dream about last night? And I'm like going, I can't remember. Everything you're saying, I've been experiencing as well simultaneously, and that's because, again, my multidimensional body is entering my meat suit. That's pretty much what's happening. And for it to enter it clearly, I have to heal the rift with you, because that part of it can't enter my meat suit until I actually fix that, okay? And there's no more break, because that's holding part of my meat suit in ransom, in a sense, or it's holding it to, say this area is the bit that's got the memory in it, and it's usually the power points. Actually, I should say it's this area, because it's usually the power points. That memory is stopping my light body entering fully into the factor, and so it's creating a restriction. So then you start to feel physical restriction inside your body.
I just wanted to add a little bit more onto why we feel like our selves are being turned inside out and spat out, chewed up by a dinosaur and spat out again. Especially this time of the year, of any years, but especially in 2012, this is the hardest time on our physical bodies. It's the falling of the leaves, and just like the trees, for what the trees have to go to create their leaves to fall from their trees, we are having to do that same thing at the same time of every year. So this is the hardest time on our physical body.
The other thing is too that many of us, of course, we've all come from Source, as we know, and we're all going back to Source. In fact, have we ever left Source? That's the other question. I'm sure Aaron would love to talk about that. But he's disappeared. He's evaporated.
Well, I can answer that question. I can answer that for him.
That's fine.
It's an interesting question.
It's also, we all have had different ways that we've come into this experience, and now, as you've mentioned also, it's this falling, it's the equinox, it's also, we're just past equinox, it's 2012, there's a lot of expectation of 2012, there's a lot of the solar flares, some of the things that Wayne has talked about earlier with the energy, the everything that's happening is anything that's unresolved within our density, unresolved with our cellular memory, within our being, is going to be shaken up and released at this time, whether we like it or not. Lou's travel down into this experience is different from mine, is different from Pat's. And I happen, because I know Lou so well, I happen to know some of her travel down here, and it's been pretty friggin' full on. A lot of what she's doing now, I've done, okay? And my way, over a period of years, in a different way and in a different form. So what's happening now is going to be different from her than what it is from me and all of you. So I'm having a different experience now. I'm not having what Lou's having, but I'm having other things that are coming up for me. So there is no rhyme or formula. It's basically about going with it and sitting with your own counsel. And if that's not giving you any answers, this is what we're all here for, right, guys? To support each other more in community too and look at a different outlook.
From what you were saying just then about now, it's about going into yourself and being your own counsel in this time of change, and it's all this bleak that's coming up for us and what to face it. But this time is about an interesting concept that came out the other night. It's about love and standing by yourself and just being. It's not about rushing around doing stuff. It's just about facing yourself and being still and listening to yourself and letting it go and working through this stuff and just being in love and trying to, with yourself, if you like, and if you know the concept, what I'm saying, just be in your heart and don't do anything, don't try. You know, a lot of people are just overly doing and overly stressing, and I just want to add that in. Yeah.